Please like and subscribe. We are a new channel and out daily videos. The Forgotten Ledger. Anna Dempsey shifted in her creaky desk chair, scrolling through endless emails when a subject line caught her eye. The ledger holds the truth. The sender was anonymous, but the email contained a single, intriguing message. 30 years ago, Edwin Grayson disappeared. The secrets he left behind could destroy the people who made him vanish. Find the ledger before they find you. Attached was an address, an old mansion on the outskirts of town, and a grainy black-and-white photograph of a man in his 50s, his eyes hollow behind wire-rimmed glasses. Anna hesitated. She was an investigative journalist, sure, but this was the kind of tip that could lead to nothing or worse, trouble. But the curiosity won. The mansion, the Grayson estate, stood at the edge of a forgotten forest. Towering oaks shielded the dilapidated structure from view, and the setting sun cast long, ominous shadows over its cracked facade. As Anna parked her car, the mansion loomed like a relic from a Gothic nightmare. Pushing open the front door, she was greeted by the stench of mildew and rot. The floorboards groaned under her weight as she stepped inside. Dust blanketed the furniture, and cobwebs stretched across the once grand chandeliers. The place looked untouched, yet Anna couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. She found the study easily, a small, claustrophobic room lined with bookshelves. A heavy desk sat in the center, its drawers ransacked long ago. She rifled through the mess until something caught her eye. A small stack of papers, yellowed with age, tucked beneath a broken floorboard. The first page read, "The Ledger." Below it were columns of names, dates, and numbers, payments, bribes, and transactions. Some of the names belonged to people still in power today. Anna snapped photos of the pages, her heart racing. But as she worked, a faint creak echoed from upstairs. The intruder. Anna froze. The sound was too deliberate to be the house settling. She turned off her flashlight, plunged into darkness, and strained to listen. Another creak, then silence. She crept toward the staircase, her breath shallow, every nerve on edge. Halfway up, she noticed the unmistakable scent of cigar smoke. She stopped. "Hello," she called, her voice barely above a whisper. No response. Anna retreated, her fingers brushing against a seam in the wall. It felt hollow. She pushed, and a small panel popped open, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside was a leather-bound book, Grayson's diary. She stuffed it in her bag and bolted back downstairs, heart pounding. As she left the mansion, she spotted a set of fresh tire tracks in the dirt driveway, tracks that weren't hers. The drive home, Anna's hands gripped the steering wheel as she sped down the desolate road, the sun now a faint memory on the horizon. She checked her rearview mirror obsessively, her paranoia growing with each glance. Then she saw it, headlights in the distance, gaining on her. Her heart raced. She pressed harder on the gas, but the car behind her matched her speed. It followed her through turns and over hills until, as suddenly as it appeared, the headlights vanished. Anna drove the rest of the way home in a daze, unsure if she'd imagined the whole thing. Uncovering the truth. Back in her apartment, Anna locked the door, pulled the curtains tight, and spread the photos and diary pages across her desk. She examined the names and dates, noting how the ledger documented a web of corruption spanning decades. The diary was even more chilling. In his final entry, Grayson wrote, "They found out I know everything. If they catch me, it's over. But the ledger isn't enough without the key. To whoever finds this, trust no one." Anna felt a knot tighten in her stomach. The key he mentioned wasn't with the pages she'd found. She needed to go back. As she reached for her phone to call her editor, her computer screen flickered. A message appeared. "You should have left it buried." She stared, paralyzed with fear. Then the power went out. In the suffocating darkness, Anna heard a sound that made her blood run cold. The slow, deliberate click of footsteps in the hallway outside her door. Anna held her breath as the footsteps stopped right outside her door. The silence stretched, suffocating her with its weight. A soft scrape, metal against wood, told her someone was testing the lock. She stumbled backward, her fingers fumbling for the pepper spray in her bag. Then came the bark of a dog, sharp and sudden, echoing through the hallway. Whoever was outside froze, then retreated. A moment later, the faint sound of hurried steps descended the staircase. Anna's hands trembled as she grabbed her phone and called her tech-savvy friend, Elliot. He answered groggily, but the urgency in her voice snapped him awake. "I think someone's after me," she said. "I need you to look at something." Elliot's expertise. Half an hour later, Elliot sat at Anna's cluttered desk, scrolling through the photos of the ledger and the diary. His brow furrowed as he deciphered the columns of payments and names. "This is massive," he said. "These names, politicians, law enforcement, even judges. If this gets out, it'll tear the city apart." "But what's the key Grayson mentioned?" Anna asked, pacing the room. Elliot flipped through the diary. He was paranoid, but he left breadcrumbs. "Look at this." He pointed to a passage. "The roots of the old oak, where the truth is buried." Anna frowned. "The park. That's where he always went to think." "Exactly," Elliot said. "If the ledger's incomplete, the rest might be hidden there. But we need to hurry. If someone else knows about this, they won't stop until they find it, or you." The old oak. The abandoned park was a shadow of its former self. Weeds had overtaken the once manicured lawns, and the air was heavy with decay. The towering oak tree stood in the center, its gnarled branches silhouetted against the moonlight. Anna and Elliot carried shovels, their breaths visible in the crisp night air. They dug near the tree's massive roots, the earth damp and cold beneath their hands. After what felt like an eternity, Anna's shovel hit something solid. She crouched, brushing away the dirt to reveal a rusted metal box. Her pulse quickened as she pried it open, revealing a stack of neatly bound pages. "The full ledger," she whispered, her voice trembling. But their relief was short-lived. A low, familiar voice cut through the darkness. "Step away from the box." The betrayal. Anna turned to see Elliot pointing a gun at her. "Elliot," she said, her voice shaking. "What are you doing?" "I'm sorry, Anna," he said, his face shadowed by the moonlight. "I work for them. Always have. I didn't want it to come to this, but you left me no choice." "You lied to me," Anna said, anger overtaking her fear. Elliot sighed. "It's not personal. Hand over the ledger, and I'll make sure they go easy on you." Anna's mind raced. She needed to buy time. "You don't have to do this. We can expose them together." Elliot's laugh was bitter. "You think I'd survive that? I've seen what they do to people who cross them." She slowly reached for her bag, feigning compliance, but inside, her fingers found the small recording device she always carried. She pressed record and placed it in the dirt behind her. The escape? Before Elliot could react, Anna grabbed a handful of dirt and flung it in his face. He stumbled back, cursing, and she bolted, clutching the ledger. The sound of a gunshot rang out, the bullet whizzing past her ear. She didn't stop, didn't look back, until she reached the edge of the park and collapsed behind a crumbling stone wall. Her heart hammered in her chest as she heard Elliot shouting in the distance, but he didn't follow. Anna pulled out the recorder, praying it had captured his confession. She rewound it and listened. Elliot's voice was clear. "I work for them. Always have." Hand over the ledger. It wasn't much, but it was enough to prove he was compromised. The final move. Anna knew she couldn't go to the police. They were implicated in the ledger. Instead, she turned to a trusted lawyer, Claire Morrison, who had a reputation for taking down corrupt institutions. Together, they pieced everything together. The payments, the crimes, the powerful network of individuals who had kept Grayson's secrets buried. Claire helped Anna release the story anonymously, using the ledger and Elliot's recorded confession as evidence. The fallout was immediate. Headlines screamed of corruption, and several high-profile arrests were made. But Anna knew this was far from over. The threat remains. Months later, Anna tried to return to normal life, though her guard was always up. One evening, she returned to her apartment to find a package waiting on her doorstep. Inside was a single photograph of her standing in Grayson's study, taken on the night she'd first found the ledger. Beneath it was a note, written in elegant, looping handwriting. "You may have won this round, but the game is far from over. We're watching." Anna stared at the note, her hands trembling. She knew she had made powerful enemies, and they wouldn't stop until they silenced her. But she also knew she wouldn't stop fighting. Thank you for watching to the end. We strive on putting daily videos we upload every day at 6 p.m. standard. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe as we are a new channel.